Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming to join me today. If you are new to this channel, a big welcome. And if you have been with us for a First Chapter Friday before, welcome back. Today we're in for a treat because Stacy McAnulty has a new novel out, The Evers Forever 12, which I am super excited about as there is a little bit of fantasy genre kind of sprinkled into this novel, which isn't usually my go-to genre, but I really enjoyed what I've read of this book so far. So you may be familiar with some of Stacy McAnulty's other books. She has written The Miscalculation of Lightning Girl, which was super popular, as well as Millionaires for the Month. Those are two that you might be familiar with. So I am super excited to share the first chapter of this book with you today. We are going to start by reading the synopsis on the front and side cover to get an idea of what this book is going to be about. At the elite West Archer Academy, all the students are gifted, but 4 are exceptional. Though the Evers look 12, they're actually centuries old, possessing knowledge and talents that make them extraordinary. And boarding school is the perfect cover for their brilliance and their secret. It's supposed to be a typical year in the anything but typical lives of these kids until Ivy Stewart shows up. She resembles an Ever who went missing more than 70 years ago, and Ivy could be the key to unlocking their curse. But ambitious Ivy is at West Archer to achieve her own extraordinary goals, and nothing will distract her. Or so she thinks. With the desperate Evers determined to find answers, and her former classmate, a laid-back, cool guy, Ronan, determined to protect her, Ivy soon finds herself swept up in a mystery only she can solve. Will her life be changed forever and ever? All right, that is the synopsis. I am personally pretty intrigued to see where Ivy's journey takes her. So before we get to the first chapter, there is this little section here that says before West Archer Academy. So this is before Ivy has gotten in, and it is taking place in April. Life is a race, but not to the finish line. That would be morbid because everyone ends up dead. No, life is a race to see who can climb the highest, the fastest. At least that was how Ivy Stewart felt. Done. Ivy slapped her pencil on her desk, and a few head turns in her direction with eyes glaring. She was used to the judgmental looks, but still, she hadn't meant to disrupt anyone's test. She'd never do that on purpose. Tests were too important. Sorry, she whispered as she slid out of her seat and brought her math test to Miss McCartney's desk. That was fast, the teacher said, which did not come across as a compliment. It was harder than I expected, Ivy lied. She assumed teachers aimed to create challenging work and would not appreciate being told that something was easy. If Ivy made an exam, she'd want the class average to be 75. Now, if she ever got a 75, she'd crawl under her seat and cry, and then beg the teacher for a retest. May I go to the media center? Ivy asked, to meet the representatives from West Archer Academy? Students were encouraged to attend the information sessions during lunch, but if Miss McCartney didn't have any other plans for the rest of class, there was no point in waiting. Of course, Ivy already knew a lot about West Archer. It was the 7th through 12th grade boarding school for only the most talented and driven students. Though, assuming she started next fall, she would not be called a 7th grader. She would be a first year, which sounded much better to Ivy's ears. At West Archer, Ivy could graduate from high school in as little as 2 years, by age 14. That was something she could not do at traditional public school. Her current middle school was too rigid. Take 6th grade science, even if you're ready for honors biology. Take gym again, even if you hope never to play volleyball in your entire life. Ivy planned to be enrolled at Duke before getting her driver's license. By the time she was old enough to vote, she would be at Columbia Law School, where her hero, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, got her law degree. Ivy would become an attorney, then a federal judge, and finally, Supreme Court Justice. But none of that would happen if she stayed at New London Middle. Miss McCartney sighed and nodded, handing Ivy a hall pass. Can I go too? Ronan Haywood asked from the front row. Some kids sat in the front row by choice, and some were forced to. Ronan was in the second group. If he didn't sit up front, he'd nap through every class. Have you completed your test? Their teacher asked. Yep, he held up his paper. He'd doodled battling robots around the edges, but it also looked like he'd answered the problems. Ivy doubted that Ronan had any interest in an elite boarding school. He didn't have any interest in the school he was in now. Like everyone on their academically gifted team, he was smart, scoring in the top 5% of the standardized tests all the kids were forced to take annually. But that didn't make him a stellar student, because he always seemed to aim to do the bare minimum amount of work, and he often missed that goal. Miss McCartney pulled the hall pass out of Ivy's hands and added Ronan's name. Then the two gathered their things and quietly left the classroom. Why are we going to the media center? Ronan asked in the hall. He was slightly taller than Ivy and had short black hair, brown eyes with thick eyelashes, and a mouth full of braces. I'm going to learn about West Archer Academy. It's a boarding school for smart and motivated students. Cool, see ya. He suddenly turned down the hallway that led to the gym and locker rooms. Where are you going? Her voice echoed in the empty corridor. He didn't stop. This way, where the unmotivated students hang out. You're going to get in trouble, she jogged to catch up with him. No, I won't. I don't care if I do. Well, I'm not going to let you get me in trouble. Because Ronan's name was clearly on the hall pass, Ivy felt it would be wrong to show up at her destination without him. Like on field trips, when you use the buddy system, losing your buddy is unacceptable. Sorry to repeat myself, but I don't care. He paused at the water fountain and took a long drink. Ivy imagined pivoting on her heels and storming off to the media center. She wanted to be like Ronan. She wanted not to care. Instead, she said, Please, Ronan, just come with me. For a moment, she felt ridiculous for begging. But then Ronan surprised her. He shrugged and said, Okay. They went to the media center and didn't say another word to each other. All right, that is the end of the first chapter. Now, as we know from the front inside synopsis, Ronan obviously ends up going to West Archer with her and becoming a little bit of a protector to Ivy. So I'm really also curious to see how their relationship develops. All right, everyone, that was the first chapter of the Evers Forever 12. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And tune in for next time. We'll do another first chapter Friday of another awesome book. All right, everyone, happy reading.